So we need to talk about the political situation. What was going on with Pope Gregory the 16th in 1832? Why was he sitting there talking about how they had to use the rod? Is he talking about war and bloodshed? The Pope? I mean, for the last 1,000 years, the Catholic Church had been waging war against all of Europe. They got the Spanish Inquisition, where they not only went after other religions, Jews, Muslims, they went after Protestants. They went after other Christians. I know Catholics that don't call themselves Christian. They call themselves Catholic. Why? Because Catholic is different than Christian. Being Catholic means something else. Is it possible that the Vatican is the whore of Babylon that Revelations has warned us about? Did Jesus not warn us about false prophets? So Pope Gregory talks about insolent and factitious men who raised the standard of treason, and then how they had to use the God-given authority to crush him with a rod. And then they talked about how they had unbridled rage and how their duties had been heavy. So Pope Gregory the 16th, what's he talking about? 1832, August 15th? Well, the French just had another revolution, the 1830 revolution. And the French Revolution is bringing about all these revolutionary ideas. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so Gregory the 16th is in charge of these papal states. There's like 5 or 6 of them. I wrote a couple down here. They've been running the papal states, which are states within Italy, old states, not today. But the papal states are territories in central Italy, Lazio, Marche, and Umbria. That's 3 of the states. Lazio, Marche, Umbria. The papal states have been with the church since the 700s. So for nearly 1,000 fucking years, these are our states. These are our little countries. Our little fiefdoms, our little realm, our regime. They were governing with theocracy, and you had rising liberalism and nationalism that was threatening their theocratic, absolute, totalitarian governance, and then there was war and bloodshed. Pope Gregory is going to be responsible for a couple thousand people getting killed, of his own people. He only had 1,000 troops. He didn't have enough troops to subdue these protests. This isn't outright rebellion. This isn't outright revolution. This is just a couple people saying, hey, Pope, give us our due. Hey, Pope, give us our space. And Pope is like, fuck you. I'm going to get 20,000 Austrian troops to goddamn crush you. And he did. In the papal states. So these are Italians being occupied by Austria, Metternich. Now there's going to be some elections. Pope Gregory is going to win his election. And when he won his election, that crystallized that there is no hope with the Catholic Church. They weren't going to do reforms. They weren't going to do a little bit of reforms. They weren't going to do anything that was actually helpful to anybody. The other elections, these are Catholics as well. They're not just Italians, they're Catholics. So when he killed 1,000 people, he killed 1,000 Catholics. Catholics won Bologna, Ferrara, and Ancona. So these are Italian liberals who have won elections within their domains. And that's what pisses the Pope off. They liked France's Constitution. They wanted France's Constitution. So Greg the 16th had a fight against these Carbonari style, these secret societies, these 1831 uprisings by insolent and factitious men restoring order after the 1831 election victory. Pope Gregory the 16th won his election, but then he's going to declare war against Ferrara, Ancona, and Bologna. Is that Bologna? Is that where the name Bologna comes from? In Italy? Spelled the same. That thrust the popery amidst a crisis. Lincoln was elected in a secession crisis, and Pope Gregory, you think he's going to do some reforms? No, he's going to suppress. He's going to suppress the rebellions, the protests in the papal states with bloodshed. How are we going to end these protests? I know how we're going to end these protests. We're going to have a bloody end to these protests. During this war, Gregory the 16th, Austria, Italy. Gregory the 16th actually has to flee Rome. He fled Rome for a minute. He appealed to Austria's Metternich. These are Habsburg soldiers. Ooh, the Habsburgs. There's a house that's had power for quite some time. The post-Napoleonic revolutions, you had 1830 July Revolution in France, which toppled the Bourbon monarchy. The Bourbon monarchy was toppled. And then you had Louis Philippe. Louis Philippe was put into his place. You had a French Catholic newspaper called the L'Avenir. And what the L'Avenir, listen to what the so-called liberals were pushing for. All right, we're going to love the Pope, suck the Pope's dick, talk about the Pope's supremacy. But we also want to separate church and state. We also want to expand suffrage, get more people to vote. We also believe in a liberty of conscience, and we believe in the press freedom. We believe in the freedom of the press. That's it. Freedom of the press, liberty of conscience, the freedom to think. Why would Pope Gregory the 16th be afraid of the freedom to think? And my God, is he afraid of freedom of the freedom to think? The liberty of conscience scares the shit out of Pope Gregory the 16th. Everybody's eating from this tree of knowledge of good and evil. You're going to try to tell me you got a conscience too? You're going to tell me you got a conscience too? And you're going to allow your conscience to govern you? Is the conscience not the voice of God? And if we all have the voice of God in ourselves, why would we ignore the conscience? The liberty of the conscience is to allow the God within ourselves to speak. We want everybody to have not just liberty of conscience, but the duty of conscience. Do think about what's good and evil. And when you figure it out, then make sure you do the good and avoid the evil. Crush the evil and elevate the good. Let's see here. What else do we got? So he's going to flee Rome. Austria's 20,000 is going to march into Bologna, other hot spots to restore order. So because of Pope Gregory the 16th, you got street battles and skirmishes and sieges and executions and mass arrest. You got reprisals, summary killings, bloody end to revolts. Count Felix Orsini. Felix Orsini is going to get killed in battle. His son is going to vow to avenge Felix Orsini. A few thousand were killed. Hundreds of revolutionaries were killed, plus soldiers and civilians on both sides. These protesters didn't realize they were going to be turned into revolutionaries. But since they're going to use goddamn firepower to crush the protest, you just turn the protest into... Gregory XVI said that bad books are poison. He was elected February 2nd, 1832. As soon as Gregory the 16th got into power, immediate revolts. People are like, what the fuck? You can't not fucking trust these goddamn